In the southern state of Virginia, USA, the police receive an anonymous phone call. When they arrive at the scene, they find an elderly couple stabbed to death in their own living room. The only other person in that room is their handyman, Jerome. The year is 1968. The victims are white, Jerome is black. The police need no further investigation. With everything stacked against him, including witnesses who lie on oath, the only hope Jerome has of proving his innocence is Jack Lee, a white lawyer who has never fought a murder case before, and Desiree Dubose, who, as a female black lawyer, probably faces even more prejudice than Jerome. A Calamity of Souls, the latest suspense thriller by David Baldacci, is a tense courtroom drama where true justice seems impossible to achieve. Let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asavari, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. Shall we have a look at the details of today's book?
Facts and Figures.
A Calamity of Souls is historical fiction, a suspense thriller written by David Baldacci. It was published in April this year, 2024, by Pan Macmillan. It's 512 pages long and available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle editions. The audiobook is available on Audible. You can find the link to buy this book on Amazon in the first pinned comment and in the description below. Now let's talk about the actual contents of the book. But as you know, no spoilers, no worry. Just
the cover story.
The novel begins with the old man Leslie Randolph sprawled on the floor on his back and his wife Anne Randolph lying across a chair. Both have been stabbed to death. Their black handyman, Jerome, is down on his knees, hands cuffed behind him. The two policemen on the scene are convinced that they have their killer and want nothing more than for him to give them a reason to shoot him. Jerome refuses to look into their eyes or say anything because he knows that's the easiest way to get himself killed. But when one of the deputies whispers something into his ear that makes him roar up in rage, and that's reason enough for them to beat him to unconsciousness. Jack Lee is a 35-year-old lawyer, a white man, who happens to know Miss Jessup, who is the grandmother of Jerome's wife. Jack Lee is not a racist, but he's never really thought about the struggles of non-whites either. He's read books written by black activists, but it's all academic to him. When he takes up Jerome's case on Miss Jessup's request, for the first time, he begins to think about the disparity between their lives. As he begins to prepare for the case, he is cajoled, pressurized, threatened into abandoning the case. He realizes that something much bigger is at play. Never having tried a murder case before, it seems that he may be out of his depth. In comes Desiree Dubose, a Yale-educated lawyer from Chicago. She is black and a female, and she is used to fighting with the biggies to further the cause of justice and equality for everyone. They couldn't be more dissimilar, but together they form a fractious partnership that might be their client's only chance for a fair trial and justice. Outside the courtroom, there are conspiracies, threats, and attacks designed to derail the trial. Inside the courtroom, there is a biased jury, wily judges, and lying witnesses. This courtroom drama is a fast-paced, nail-biting race to a shocking finish. Here's why it's a book that you just cannot miss.
Speaking My Mind.
This book, once you pick it up, you won't be able to put it down. It's 500 pages of non-stop action. I finished it in one single day. The suspense is killing. You know from the first page itself that Jerome is innocent. But then who is the real killer? I did not see it coming until the first clue dropped at page 447. Then it was like, oh my god, the writing is brilliant. Throughout the book, there are moments when it reads like a blockbuster movie. You want to shout yes and pump your fist in the air. And at times, you'll want to bang the book shut and scream in frustration. I'm telling you, I see a movie coming in the future. The descriptions are very visual and the dialogues are utterly believable. In the author's note, David Baldacci warns us about the language used, the phrases and terminology which can be disturbing. But that is because the book has been written to be realistic and authentic to the period in history and the prevailing attitudes of that time. It's an emotionally charged book. You will feel angry and frustrated with the injustice of it all. Baldacci creates a taut, tense atmosphere leading to a final showdown that may not be exactly how you wanted it, but still is very satisfying. You just have to resist the temptation to sneak a peek at the climax. Believe me, you don't want to do that. You cannot read a novel about a falsely accused black man defended by a white lawyer in a criminal case with a white victim and not think of To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The comparison is inevitable. But that's all there is that is common between the two books. You might imagine shades of Atticus Finch and Jack Lee, but there's no Scout and there's no Boo Radley, and the style of narration is absolutely different. Except for that basic premise of an innocent black suspect and a white lawyer, the two books have nothing in common. A Calamity of Souls may not be To Kill a Mockingbird, but it is a great book too. It might have more in common with John Grisham's A Time to Kill, but even there the similarities are minimal. I would say let's keep the comparisons away and just enjoy the book. It's a good book. In the novel, you read about how reading books about the struggles of non whites in a white dominated society influences Jack Lee's thinking. And yet he never actively tries to do anything about it. So when he's in a quandary about whether to take up the defense of Jerome or not, he thinks to himself,
Quote unquote.
apparently, books alone did not inspire bravery, although they could certainly be a catalyst to action. Isn't that true? Here's talking about bravery, but that could be applicable to a lot of things that we read about in books. Books are useful only when you act upon them. Remember last week I talked about being inspired to work on my health by Milan Soman's book? If you missed that episode, you can find a link up there in the description. Up there and in the description below. I'm happy to report that since then, I've consciously tried to be more active and eat better. On two occasions, I ditched my two-wheeler and walked about 5-6 kilometers for my errands. Not bad for a couch potato, right? Now it's time for the LINEDSCAPE rating of today's book.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
LINEDSCAPE is a 10-factor book rating system that I have devised. You can find a link up there or in the description to a video that explains how it works. You can check that out. Two parameters, impact and novelty, are 8 on 6. 6 parameters, language, descriptions, sense, characters, plot, and enjoyment, are a 9 on 10. The remaining 2 parameters, aesthetics and engagement, are a 10 on 10. The total score is 90 on 100, which translates into 4.5 stars. The audiobook needs a special mention today. It's narrated by multiple voice artists and they have done a great job. In audiobooks, I usually prefer listening to non-fiction than fiction because I find listening to dialogues in audiobooks a bit cringy. But in this book, they are not cringy. This is a fiction audiobook that I would recommend without any reservations. And now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell.
A Calamity of Souls by David Baldacci is a tense courtroom drama that is full of suspense and thrills. It also accurately depicts the 60s era and the struggle of people of color simply to be treated as human beings. We've seen a similar true story earlier in The Personal Librarian, in which Belle da Costa had to pretend to be white her entire life in order to work for JP Morgan. You can watch that episode at the above link. Today's book is a fiction novel, but it is as realistic and authentic as a true story. It is a thought provoking and thrilling drama that is guaranteed to keep you engaged from start to finish. I highly recommend that you read this book. Before I go, remember I upload a fresh episode every week. If you liked this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now, and until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.